And here with us now is Tony Perkins, president of the Family Research Council. Tony, parts of DeSantis and what conservatives call the anti-woke agenda have been stalled by judges for what they say likely being in conflict with the Constitution's 14th and First Amendments. Tony, is it dangerous for DeSantis to stake out his campaign on this agenda since it has yet to play out in the courts, or is there possibly another win with him trying to take on judges as well?
Now, John, I think we've learned from the past that we shouldn't wait for judges to tell us what we should do as policymakers. We need to move ahead with what we know to be right. And, the courts can decide when the time is right. But look, this is where the American people are right now. They want to take on corporate America. They want to take on these woke institutions that are pushing an agenda that is hurting their families, harming their children, and putting the future of this country at risk.
Whether it's abortion, bathroom bans, book bans, culture wars, Tony, really seem to be ginning up the base. After a disappointing midterm for Republicans, though, more pundits and political observers seem to be speaking out, essentially saying Republican candidates need to stick to issues like inflation rather than the social issues. Your thoughts on that?
Well, Jenna, that's what happened in the midterm is they avoided the issues that the American people were hearing about constantly. The Democrats spent about $350 million promoting their position on abortion and defining the Republicans, and the Republicans spent about $35 million. And so if you're going to let the other side define where you stand, you're going to lose every time in a debate. So the Republicans need to embrace these issues and where the party stands. It's historically been pro-family, pro-life, and that is a message that in this divided culture where these cultural wars are raging, it's going to attract support. And that's why Ron DeSantis is doing this.
Tony, back to our top story. We heard in that soundbite from Speaker McCarthy that this debt deal represents the largest cuts in American history, but you have disdain for the debt deal from folks both on the far left and on the far right. Does that suggest that this agreement in some ways is politically fair?
Well, look, when you look at the pre-COVID spending levels of about $4.2 trillion, you see post-COVID spending of $6.2 trillion. And we've now made that emergency spending that we did during COVID as a part of the baseline. That's problematic, and that's what the conservatives are raising questions over. Is it a reduction in spending? Yes, but you have to compare apples to apples, not apples to oranges. And so my big concern here, John and Jen, is that what we've seen over the last few months, unprecedented unity among the Republican conference after a brutal speaker's race, is going to be fractured by this, and the way forward is in question. As I've talked to many members, even today and yesterday, the future of the Republican conference and the unity that they've forged is in question.
Just a few seconds left here, but in your view, how is Speaker McCarthy doing in this battle?
Well, I think up to this point he's done quite well, but I think this puts his leadership to the test and his ability to unify Republicans going forward after, avoiding some of, I think, the biggest issues, and that is the spending and the fact that we're funding a lot of the woke policies of the Biden administration. The president himself says we haven't lost anything. We're going forward with what we've been able to pass in the last 2.5 years. That's problematic for a lot of conservatives.
All right, Tony Perkins, president of the Family Research Council. Thank you, Tony. Good to see you.
Thank you.